You are now entering the Queen's Quarter. We are powerful, strong, and rulers in our own right. There's a queen in you, there's a queen in me. Every woman is a queen.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Queen's Quarters. We thank you so much for joining us today. For those who watch us regularly, we thank you so much for being a faithful fan, a faithful viewer, and for those watching us for the first time, we hope that it won't be your last. All right, so I am your host for today. My name is Queen Lady B, and we are going to tap into our roll call. I am representing the late 30s. Ladies, it's on you.
Hi, I'm Queen Emma, and I represent the 60s Club.
Hello, everyone. I'm Queen T, and I'm representing the 50s Club.
Hello, I'm Queen Ty, and I'm representing the 50s Club.
Hey everyone, I am Queen Tens and I'm representing the 40s Club.
Good day, kings and queens. I'm Queen Jock, representing the early 40s.
Hey y'all, I'm Queen Nye, representing the early 30s.
All right, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You have been introduced to our lovely queens. At this time, we are going to have our tea time with Queen T. Queen T is on you.
Come on in, everybody. Let's talk a little bit about the tea. It is tea time with Queen T. Now, normally I bring you some type of tea that has levels of health benefits, but tea time with you guys have taken me on a tea journey. And what I mean by that is tea, we always talk about teas that have health benefits, but what I have found out is that loose teas give you your best health benefits. So get you some loose teas, go to your tea specialty store and get you some loose teas and steep that tea and it has great flavor. So get yourself some loose tea leaves and get all the health benefits from it. So let's get yourself a cup of tea and let's see what's going on in Queen's Quarters today.
Queen T, thank you so much for that lovely segment of our tea time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have been watching our shows, we have been diving into our addiction series. We've been touching on various addictions, what it means, how it affects people, and all that comes with that. So today we're discussing food addiction. That's right, food addiction. Yes, you can be addicted to food, and it can come with serious health risk as well as various other things. So let's just take a quick look into what exactly are eating disorders. All right. So eating disorders are illnesses that affect a person's relationship with food and body image. People with eating disorders have excessive thoughts of food, their body weight or shape, and how to control their intake of food. Type of eating disorders include anorexia, which is characterized by weight loss or maintenance by extreme dieting, starvation, or too much exercise. Binge eating, which means to frequently consume an unusually large amount of food in one sitting. Lord have mercy. Haven't we all been guilty of that a time or two? And lastly, bulimia, with symptoms including purging, taking laxatives, exercising, or fasting to avoid weight gain after binge eating. So sad. I actually had a girlfriend who suffered from all of the symptoms that I just went over. She just got so stuck on wanting to lose such a large amount of weight, and she loved food. So she started doing research on illnesses that we just went over, and she lost the weight, but it wasn't in a healthy way. She began to look frail. She began to lose her hair. And it was all because, and it's funny how it's really tied into, isn't it funny? It sounds like a contradiction, right? Like you're addicted to food, but you're worried about your body image. So that's like, you know what I mean? You don't really think that those two would tie into each other. If you're addicted to food, you think, oh, the person doesn't care how big they get. They just want the food. So also touching on that, there are a few statistics here. So I found this to be interesting. Approximately 30 million Americans live with an eating disorder, according to National Association of Anorexia and Associated Disorders. Eating disorders are the third most common chronic illness among adolescent females in the United States. That makes sense, right, ladies? Because when you're a teen and you're young, you're worried about your figure and things of that nature. 10 million men, I found this to be interesting, in the US will suffer from an eating disorder in their lifetime. And lastly, the lifetime prevalence of eating disorders is highest among those with a binge eating disorder. Wow, that's interesting facts. So what do you ladies think? Like, what do you feel on that? Do you know anyone who has ever suffered from these illnesses, disorders, or do you think it just comes from a lack of self-esteem? What are your thoughts on that, Queens?
Well, I wanted to kind of share, because I know when we were going to dive into this topic, I wanted to look up some celebrities that struggle, because, they're in the limelight. They have to maintain a certain image. And I know models. A few shows back, we did body imaging, and that body imaging falls right into this, because you're striving to look a certain way, because you feel like you have to, right? So Jane Fonda, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jane Fonda, but she's like been an actress for years, but she's had an eating disorder. She says she kept bulimia a secret from the world. She wasn't happy since, like, I guess teenage years. She mentioned her teenage years all the way to 50 years old before she admitted to, like, people that she was struggling with this forever. Lady Gaga, she went through an eating disorder. I don't know if you know the young lady that plays in, her name is Gabra Sidibe. She was in Empire. Right. The young lady that was the manager with Cookie. She's an Empire, and actually,
I'm about to say Precious.
Precious, yes, that was what she's known for. That's right. Thank you. Yes, Precious. But she opened up about her eating disorder in 2017. Her book was "This Is Just My Face. Try Not to Stare." In it, she shared that she struggled with bulimia. Often, she said she was too sad to stop crying. She would drink a glass of water and eat a slice of bread and then throw it up. And she said after she would throw it up, she felt better. Then she said she finally relaxed, and then she went to a point where she wasn't eating and still wasn't losing weight. So she said she really had to go through a time where she had to find herself, and then try to do it the healthy way. Like you said, Lady B, about your friend losing weight, but doing it the unhealthy way. Right. It's just, so when I looked up all Paula Abdul struggled, and she said she started at 16 years old. So Paula Abdul started with this at 16 years old, throwing up after dinner every night. And so it's amazing how many people deal with the same thing, but yet hold it as a secret. Because it's like, oh God, I can't tell anybody. Nobody will understand. And that just goes to speak to every issue we deal with. Everybody always think they're by themselves dealing with something, but little do they know their neighbor, somebody right there next to them, going through the very exact same thing. Because we're looking at these people, we're looking at what they see on TV as being beautiful, right? You see the skinny this, the skinny that, and I guess you're a teenager, going back to people being mean to you, kids saying stuff about you and things like that. And you just trying to change how you look and doing it by any means necessary. Now, I don't personally know anyone that has dealt with it, like hands on. But what I can say, having a son, my son is a big boy. And literally, I always wanted in my own way to protect him and try to, baby, you beautiful. I don't care who say anything to you, And one crazy thing about Kai, like Kai was like, I ain't studying nobody. Like, I'm good. You ain't gotta worry about me. And the more somebody will pick on him, he would pick on them or whatever. But I can honestly say one thing, him being a big boy, he's never like went through anything. It was like I always try to keep my ears open, like trying to see if that boy ate proud, And then I was like, all right, babe, like we might have to scale back a little bit, control a little bit. But I love the fact that from birth or from young, he's never not liked the skin he was in. And my son was always overweight. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it just speaks to being confident in who you are. And we all go through weight struggles. Lord knows I go up and down. It's like a constant battle. You know what I mean?
Myself the modern day Luther and Oprah. You know what size they was going to be. Like, that's little Luther or big Luther. That's little.
Right.
Listen, no shame over here. I go up and down.
I know that's right. But it's true, though. But, like, even Lady B, when you mentioned, we've all been guilty. You know what I'm saying? At some point or another, we have all kind of into something a little more than we should have. You know what I'm saying? Or comfort eating when you home and you just binge eating, or like say if you emotionally trauma, you in a relationship and you grab that Haagen-Dazs, you know what I'm saying? And you get your favorite ice cream, your Snickers. I mean, we all have been kind of guilty of it, but that's what I'm saying, like shining a light on stuff and making sure that people are not by yourself. Everyone, we all got ailments, but we all in this thing together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let me ask you something. Do you think you can blame the media, social media, with people going through stuff like this? Do you think that if they didn't look at other people, that they would more so be happy with themselves instead of trying to be like other people?
Absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of it, the social media, then the people you around, once again, the kids that pick on each other, you always trying to look a certain way or always trying to gain approval, right? Like, I think, Titus, like you said, instead of looking within yourself, we go through life growing up trying to look for approval and looking for approval on the outside versus the inside.
Right. And that's what I'm sorry, but that's what I like about the fact that, because back in the day when I used to model, of course you had no skinny model. I mean, no
big models. Right.
Big models. Right. But I love the fact that now they're embracing, the thick, the curvy women and walking down the aisle. So yeah, I think me personally, I don't know anyone that have dealt with that. Even when we modeled, I'm gonna be honest with you, but when you modeled, you do have a lot of models doing cocaine, because cocaine kind of curb your appetite and stuff. So you have a lot of people doing little different things like that just to maintain the weight. So, but far as, sticking their finger down their throat and everything else like that, I'm not sure about that. But I am a witness to the drugs in that arena, just to maintain your weight.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to add to that, Queen Tans, I think you brought out a good point. How do you feel about yourself? Because if you don't have a good image about yourself in your mind, that makes you do these desperate things to change yourself. Because if you notice with anorexia, a lot of these women are small. You can literally see their bones. But when they look in the mirror, they see a big girl.
Right.
They don't even see a skinny girl. And you're looking at it like, oh my God, you need some meat on your bone. And they like, I see fat, that I'm fat, I'm overweight. So it has to be a mental thing as well. But
No, I
something
agree with
else,
that.
something else you touched on, and thank you, Ty, for bringing Queen Ty for bringing that out about jobs, because I was thinking about that. Ballerinas,
Yeah.
thin,
Yes.
a model, you had to be thin. So
Yes.
sometimes, you know, everybody don't have the same metabolism. It causes you to do desperate things
Yeah.
to get that weight down to be able to do that particular job. So sometimes it might not even be a low self-esteem thing from the beginning, like from your childhood. It could come from, you know, your job, things that you do later on in life.
And you know what, too? Oh, go ahead, Ty. Go ahead.
I'm glad you said that, because that brought back to me. Remember Dreamgirls? When Jennifer, what's her name?
Hudson
was playing that role, and the music company was saying that she was too big.
Right.
Big, you know.
Right.
And they wanted her to lose weight. So yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the people that you work for, and they're seeing you in probably like a bigger light than what they perceive you to be or need to be in order to reach other people. I think really it has a lot to do with how people view other people.
And how you view yourself, self-esteem.
Exactly.
Self-esteem. But you know, too, I wanted to say on the flip side of that, and we talking about from kids, because Lady B mentioned the stats. It started as teenagers. Right. So where does that start from? It starts from your peers, but also your household. Have you ever seen you remember Best Man, where the mom was shaming, was body shaming a little girl, and she was like, "You got another piece of cake? Come on, you don't need that. Put it down." And she hit the fork, and this little girl had to be like maybe 8, 10 or so. She was in between 8 and 10 years old. So you got to keep that in mind too, parents, grandparents, any of the guardian figures to children. The power of life and death is in the tongue. What are you speaking to your child that's making your child? And that's another thing, like to piggyback off of how my son felt. And I'm only using Kai as an example because my he's a big boy, and he's always been a big boy. But I thank God for his self-esteem and his confidence. But where did it come from? His self-esteem and confidence came from his household, because we told him first he was gorgeous. Right. Baby, you ain't got nothing to prove. You look wonderful and all of that. So it starts in your home, especially because what's ringing in your ear? Your role models, who you look up to, your mother, your father, your older sister, your older brothers. And if they're constantly body shaming you, oh, you fat. Oh, you this. Oh, you better put that fork down. You keep eating. You know what I mean? So you hear that constantly.
We hear that from my father.
Hello, you already know. I was about to say, like, listen, I thank God for the self-esteem me and my sister got, because when I tell you my father will make you hard, honey, he will make you be thick, your whole skin thick, because he will mention every frailty that you have, okay?
Now you just getting bigger and bigger, huh?
Right. I'm telling you. So, but for real, like, it really do start in the household as far as you having that self-esteem. So kings and queens out there, if you got little chunky, beautiful little brown babies, please tell them they're beautiful and let God do what he got to do. Okay, don't be, listen, I mean, and even if you feel like me and Kai start going to the gym together, me, him, and it was a family affair. We all going to the gym. Like, he a little distance from me now, but we all going to the gym. You know what I'm saying? So things like that. I'm not going to sit up there and body shame you, but I want to be healthy. Mommy can lose some weight. You can lose some weight. Let's do this together. You know what I'm saying? So it's ways to do it so you can encourage people not to go into that anorexic and that bulimia state, because once again, it goes to how you see yourself, and words hurt.
That's why Queen Tans. But you know what? Let's talk about obesity for a minute.
Right.
So I know people that are big, because people automatically assume just because you're a big person, that means you like to eat.
Right. Come on, and it's true.
No, some big people, and they eat very little. So you have to know sometimes it's about your health.
That's true.
Knowing what's going on in your body. And even for me, I'm like, I love coffee. I'm a coffee drinker, but I love my coffee light and sweet.
Sweet.
Y'all know what sugar do to your body.
Right.
So at the end of the day, and believe it or not, that is an addiction, and people don't want to believe coffee is an addiction.
Caffeine. Yes, it is.
Get stressed out and don't smoke.
Come on, wait a minute.
A cup of coffee. Hello.
Talk about that Pepsi. Pepsi
Yes,
too.
Pepsi. Queen Emma.
Queen Emma. You know I wanted to say it, right?
Let's talk about those Pepsi. But yes, but I just wanted to add that I know.
Look, she got Pepsi right now, Tracy. See?
A whole mess.
See, when we talk about kings and queens, no, we playing.
I know that I gain weight when I drink that coffee, but yet that caffeine keeps calling my name, and I keep having that caffeine, especially that I'm an early bird. I get up early, and sometimes I feel like I need some energy. So and not making any excuses, but I know that for me, that coffee put pounds on my hips.
Yeah,
so we have to know whatever we're eating or whatever we're consuming. We need to know about our bodies.
That's right.
We need to know about what's healthy or what's not healthy.
Right.
Because like I said, I know big people that are not, they don't eat a lot.
That's true. That's very true. And I mean, it could be definitely hereditary. You have situations where it's hereditary, and you got to kind of monitor your intake a little bit more than others. But yeah, a lot of that stuff could be of hereditary and not just something that you stuff in your face and getting bigger by the minute.
I have a question. Y'all know we just been through a pandemic, or we still going through a pandemic. Do y'all think that pandemic allowed us to have that food addiction, or gave us room to have a food addiction? Because almost everyone I know gained a few pounds.
No,
I believe that.
I
do. I think it could have been a contributor. A lot of people was in the house
gaining weight now, or when the pandemic was going on. But I believe we always had that, especially Black people. A lot of Black people don't do a lot of exercising. We don't get out there and try to lose the weight that it takes, as far as the exercises that it takes to lose the weight that we put on. So I think we can do better with our health choices.
Even the way
we eating.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Go ahead.
Weight issues from an addiction is different from weight issues from the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We ate during the pandemic. We gained weight during the pandemic because our ratio of exercising to intake decreased.
Right.
That's
when
true.
you eat more than you work out or exercise or whatever it is, however it is your body burn those calories, when you eat more than the calories that you're burning, you gain weight. But when you have a food addiction, whether it's bulimia, anorexia, overeating, that's a psychological issue. It's not necessarily because you was home during the pandemic and you ate too much. We all ate too much during the pandemic. I'm queen fatty all by myself. You know what I'm saying? I got clothes in my closet right now. I'm praying if I should throw them away and just start all over because I gained so much weight during the pandemic. However, it wasn't from a food addiction. It was because I would be sitting here and, I wouldn't have nowhere to go. So, those potato chips would start calling me and, and my conscience would say, drink water. And it would say, yes, after you have 5 chips. So, it was a win-win situation for my fatness. But addiction is different. A food addiction is different from overeating or just eating because you are out of boredom, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do have a story. I had 2 different roommates, and one roommate, every time she was sad, she ate ice cream. Like, she was addicted to ice cream. Like, let's just say her and her boyfriend broke up. She gonna eat ice cream. She failed the test. She gonna eat ice cream. So I'm not really sure if that was an addiction or if that was just something to
like emotional eating, emotional eating or something like that. Mm-hmm.
And then I had a different roommate that she was like addicted to laxatives. So she wanted her stomach to be flat. So she used to actually literally just take a laxative like 3 times a week, just so her stomach could be flat. But we started to let her know that she needs to start eating because she wasn't eating. She was just taking them laxatives and she got real skinny. Her mother took her somewhere. I forgot the facility or whatever, but at the end of the day, she did get a little problem after that, and it started from her just wanting her stomach to be flat. You know how we girls, we always want to be flat. Yeah. So I believe now it wasn't no problem.
I was
I was
actually
talking
going to ask. Oh, go ahead, Queen Jock.
I was going to talk about, I know at one time I was addicted to ice, and being addicted to ice, that caused health problems, causing anemic, and it caused the blood clots and stuff like that, especially when you're having a menstrual. So that's another thing. Now with the ice, I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it happened, but it's like my body was craving it morning, noon, and night. Like people wanted cake for dessert. I wanted ice. I couldn't wait to get home, to get to that refrigerator, to my ice maker, to make sure I get ice. I used to send people, go get me some ice. And it had to be a specific type of ice. It couldn't be from everywhere. So it was like, I don't know if it was I needed to hear the cracking on my teeth. I don't know what it was, but it was just something about that ice that just excited me. And once I got one cup, I had to get another cup, and I had to get another cup, and I had to get another cup. And that was kind of scary. And it got to the point where I had to start taking iron pills, and then I had to go get infusions. So I was like, oh no, I got to calm down. But once I started taking those things, I'm not addicted as I was. I still eat it, but I don't crave it like that. So certain food addictions can cause health problems where you have to wake up, open your eyes, and chill out. And you don't want that. So you just have to be careful on certain addictions.
Right.
So it's not always just weight gain and things like that. Right. And I wanted to touch on what Ty was saying. A lot of this stuff was before social media. It's been going on for a long time. And one person that I do know that was famous that suffered from bulimia was Princess Di. I know I watched the movie, and she was another person that suffered from bulimia.
I didn't know that. I loved her.
Yeah, and she was in the you know, in the world, you know, everybody looked up to her. She was a fashion icon.
Right.
But she had a standard that she was trying to live up to, not only the family, but also she was a fashion icon. So I mean, it's you know, just things. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Wow. I'm glad you touched on ice because a lot of us like ice.
I'm sorry.
Emma, you muted.
Oh yeah, but a lot of us like ice, so I'm glad she brought that up because that ice was something special.
But I just wanted to add in. Sometimes your body's craving for ice is a deficiency that you have.
Yeah.
The ice itself, I don't remember exactly now what it was, but sometimes we're gonna have to. I'll look that up. But what happens is sometimes it's not so much the craving of ice, but it's the deficiency that you have. That's why people
it's the deficiency of iron.
Yeah,
she said
that's why you needed to get spinach, you know, iron, take those iron pills and things like that. That's what helped
spinach
your
didn't work for me. That spinach, that's what they told me. Eat spinach, eat this. That didn't work for me. I still want
to usually dark
but
green
the infusions
work.
The infusions work and the pills that I'm at.
But dark green leafy vegetables. Even if it's not spinach, kale, collards, all of that is high in iron.
Yeah.
But I wonder why the ice? Why the ice when your iron is low? Well, what about the ice makes it feel better?
I think that's one of the symptoms. I mean, that our body. I don't know, because all of us like. Right. Then all of
you know that euphoria that people get when they shop, or it's a euphoric feel, because I too had the same problem. It's a euphoric feel. So when you get the ice, it's like your mind is tricked that you're now satisfied. You're like it's temporarily replacing your kind of like your iron with that quenching of a thirst, or that quenching of wetness, because you're really dry. Like it breaks down so much in your body. That's why the iron infusions and the pills, when you do that, like I remember when I did my iron infusions, I have never wanted ice again. And I'm talking about years of me wanting ice. And I haven't went back to it. My count has remained where it is. And that iron infusion made such a major difference. It's in my life. I mean, he was giving me the pills. The pills ain't do nothing. The iron infusions, That's what did it for me too. And it's like that craving just automatically went away. Like my kids couldn't believe it because they would fetch ice for me on a constant basis. Like I had to go to Wawa. Wawa was my spot. Like I needed Wawa ice, period. I ain't want nothing else. You know, I'm telling you. But yeah, once that, my kids even was amazed. Like that iron infusion really did it. Like took the craving automatically away because now your body is balanced. You're balanced now. You don't, your body ain't even needing it no more. It's not even a thought. You don't even think about it. It just happens automatically.
Wow.
But yeah.
So I just have a question dealing with like a food addiction. Is there somewhere you could go to get help for that? Like, do they actually have like a food addiction psychiatrist? Like, do they have help for that?
They do. My roommates had to go. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Her mother had, they do have a place for that. I just don't know what it's called right now.
And that's very interesting too, Queen Now, because like she wasn't stuffing her face, she just wasn't eating and she was doing laxatives. So you all hear, you hear about people like literally not eating but doing laxatives or getting colonics on a constant basis, just trying to clean yourself out and get all that stuff out and thinking that's going to help keep everything down in a way. But yeah, I know they got facilities for it. Wait, Lady B, you got a hotline you're going to give us later, right?
Right, I was about to say, hold on.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard y'all say something about it starts for like teenagers, but actually one of my cousin's children was very young and she was always crying. So my cousin would just feed her food. As she got older, the doctor was saying, you got to slow down. I think she was a diabetic. And also they said if she don't slow down with the eating by the time she was 5, basically she wasn't going to be able to see the age 8. So she literally had to slow down. But it started from just the mother not wanting to hear her cry. So she was just feeding her food. But like for me to see like that 3-year-old, the way the 3-year-old at the time, the way she was eating, that was definitely a food addiction. And she was only 3. And I was like, risky. And it's just like, whoa. I mean, I understand kids cry. I understand kids getting your nerves, but this don't feel food.
But see, that's crazy because she had an addiction and she didn't even do nothing. Like she was taught the addiction. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Right.
Have you ever heard of Pavlov's dogs? Well, there was this scientist named Pavlov, and what he did was he would ring this bell, and he trained these dogs that when they rang the bell, the dogs would get a treat, And it's a whole big psych issue on Pavlov and Pavlov's dogs, where that sounds almost like what was this situation with Queen Nine. If her mother fed her every time she cried, anytime she wanted to get something, she just started crying. And because she knew crying would get her whatever it is she wanted. And that's what they were saying. It's a psychological conditioning when you can, because that's what Pavlov did. We should really look that up. Pavlov dogs, he had the dogs so conditioned that every time the dogs would hear this bell ring, the dogs would run to get whatever it was needed to be done, and then the dogs would get a treat. And that's also how people train killer dogs. You know what I'm saying? That's the same way. So that's what happens with that kind of stuff is when your parent feeds you, every time you say wham, 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 they stick a bottle in your mouth instead of trying to figure out what's going on and what's happening with you.
Right.
Then that becomes a conditioning. That's not an addiction. That's a conditioning.
Yeah, she wasn't even feeding my cousin food. Bottles. She was feeding her food.
Yeah,
so
same difference.
So bad. Yeah, that's why I got so bad.
That's a great point, Queen Nine, Queen Emma, because a lot of times, when I researched, I saw that depression and anxiety can trigger the beginning of an eating disorder. But there are some households that literally allow their kids to just eat all the time, and regardless of how much weight they're gaining, it's no limit. And me, especially me growing up a heavy kid and now a full-figure woman, I always want to make sure that my son, he's a boy, he's 16, so their appetites are crazy. They can eat for like 3 people, but like at the same time, I let him know, like, that's enough. And some people look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, I want them healthy, like as a child growing up, and what we touched on already as well, I was bullied for my weight for a couple of years. A neighborhood guy, he bullied me. I shared that with you guys, a cheeseburger story. Every time I came outside, cheeseburger. But I thank God that my parents, as you touched on, Queen Tans, loved on me so much. I wasn't lacking any confidence or my self-esteem wasn't low at that time. You know, that came later on in life. But he called me names and I would cry sometimes and I would get over it. But today, we don't really see that same strength in the youth. They do things like turn to eating disorders or try to, sad to say, commit suicide and things of that nature. That never crossed my mind as a kid. It was like, okay, you know, today when you see him, he gonna call you cheeseburger, you're gonna cry, you're gonna get over it, or you get mad.
Right.
You know, but like we don't always see that today. But great points, Queen and Queen Emma. It definitely can be taught behavior as well with the eating, excessive eating, I should say.
I also wonder when Thais had touched on what you see different now than before, like you have your full figured models.
Right,
you have your full figured dancers. Like I'm so proud of some of these celebrities that have the full figured girls up there getting it. And I'm talking about they are getting it, okay? Doing really good. And then you got the models now, which I don't know the Emma, you might know it, the skin, or somebody might know it, the skin the pigmentation, where it's like, I don't know if you have vinyl, but you have they have like patches of light.
Yeah, I know someone.
I don't know the term. Beautiful models that when they were, you know, I'm quite sure if somebody could say about their childhood experience with them having that skin pigmentation issue, growing up getting bullied. But then you got them models now. So anyone growing up with that, you could see that someone's a model and now they're being praised for it. So it's like we're in a really different time now where once again, your weaknesses or what you think is the issue or what you're struggling with is now being praised. And people are full figured and they are loving their skin. People are going through all kinds of different things and they're loving their skin. So my prayer is that, you know, the bulimia, the anorexia, the overeating, the binge eating, all that stuff, that people are finding solace in the fact that you can definitely be you and love you and be in your skin and love who you are. And listen, we all got to work out. We all got to tame what we're eating and things like that. Like we were talking about our culture and what we're eating from the pork. You know, I know some lovers of pork on here. I listen. You know, I ain't saying nothing. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But you got to kind of watch that. You know, you got you got the pig intestines that you can season up real good and have things tasting.
Also do, but that came with, you know, with
I'm gagging.
Right.
Ancestors, because that's all they had.
That's what they threw at
They made that thing work. And it still works to the day.
Right.
Wait, I don't know about that now. Wait a minute. But you gotta monitor the grease to build up, because all that stuff is long-term issues. Right. It really can.
The fried food, and God knows I love me a good piece of fried chicken.
It depends on how you're making it. That's what we talking about, soul food.
Okay, but
you also have to look back at the fact that during those times when ancestors and stuff was eating food like that, they didn't have soda, they didn't add a lot of salt to their food. So although they were eating foods that were not necessarily healthy, it was just so bad for them because they didn't have all the other stuff. Their drink was water. They did not drink Pepsi, unfortunately, you know.
Unfortunately.
So they had things to balance out that kind of stuff. They ate a lot of vegetables, whatever was left on the vegetable stuff.
And it was farm to table. Yeah, because
it was farm to table. They didn't have a lot of artificial coloring, and you know, they didn't have a lot of that fake, you know, stuff that they put in vegetables to make them grow big.
That's true. The hormones,
all of that. No hormones. Yeah. So when you was eating like corn on the cob. It was literally corn on the cob. It
fresh
was not,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, yeah. My uncle used to have a garden in his yard, and he had the best tomatoes. I'm telling you, you know,
Wow.
God kissed those tomatoes because they were delicious. But he was from the South, and he grew his tomatoes,
Yeah.
you know. So
And we need to get back to that. I know
Yeah.
Queen T over there and Queen Ty want a greenhouse, because we definitely need to get back to that farm to table. I mean, they doing it now though too. I mean, there's so many restaurants that's farm to table, and they straight tell you they get it straight from the farm, and you know what, they don't have all the extra stuff and hormones and stuff in their food. Even the chicken, you got to make sure you get real chicken and not hormone or reproduced chicken. You know,
yeah.
so it's so much different now with the food than it was prior to. But yeah, we need to get back to them greenhouses and making our own food.
Right. To be honest, we should be really concentrating on eating plant-based diet, you know, having a plant-based diet instead of consuming so many different type of meats. Like even with the chicken, you can't be safe with the chicken too much. You, like you said, you have to watch what type of chicken you're eating, what type of turkey, whatever else that you're eating. So if we can get back to, and I'm so guilty because I like meat. All right. So I don't know if I can just give that up just to eat some vegetables. I don't know. That's gonna be a challenge.
It's different levels. You can start with the, you know, taking away the meat, then the seafood,
Right.
and yeah.
In pieces. Right.
Like a good rib every now and then. Yeah, I like my barbecue. What? I'm into all of that.
Okay, but you can
But
do
I
it every
understand
now
that
and
every
then.
now and then, every
Right.
now and then, your body needs a good hamburger. You know, but it just needs to
Right,
be
especially in the
a good
summertime.
hamburger.
Why you can't do turkey? Why you can't do
Have
turkey
you ever
burger?
tasted a turkey
You can do
burger?
turkey burger too, but you need stop eating beef altogether and see how and don't compensate it with the proteins. Like if you stop eating beef altogether, you need to pick up eating beans, other protein based stuff, because
Yeah.
you can't just give up. You know what's in beef. You need those proteins and stuff that's in beef. I'm not saying you got to have a cheeseburger every day, but every now and then you need you a good old cheeseburger. I ain't saying you got to get it from Burger King or McDonald's and none of that. You can
Right.
mix up the meat yourself, you know what I'm saying? But your body you can't just take out everything once your body is adjusted to eating that kind of stuff.
He's saying you
You
can't
know
go
what's funny? I haven't eaten beef or pork in years. And people think when you stop eating that, like you're just gonna lose all of this, like that. I'm a snacker, so when it does come off, I like snack. I'm not a foodie. To touch on what we was talking about earlier, people see food, people be like, "Oh, she like eating." No, I'm a snacker. My appetite is very small. But I stopped eating beef and pork, but it is a difference in your digestive system. So to think about,
Don't you eat beans? Did you compensate it with eating beans?
I love vegetables. I love beans. Exactly. So I absolutely
Yeah.
agree with what you were saying. It has to be some sort of substitute. So I try to make sure I have my greens and my beans, like you said. But growing up, my dad, he was a fake Muslim. So it was like, first half of his life, he studied Islamic faith, because half of my family, and no offense to anyone out there, but half of my family does study Islamic faith. And then, you know, the other half are Christians. But for growing up, we couldn't have pork in the house. So, and I mean, if you cooked it in a pan, he was going to throw the pot away. Like, wait, all right now. But we only had it at grandmother's house. So when we went, they were like, "Oh, we go to grandma's house, we get that pork bacon," you know. So winging myself off of the pork wasn't hard. And beef never digested well with me. I don't know what, it always felt like it got stuck right here. So a couple of years ago when I gave it up, I was like, it was nothing for me. But I can say, like, you feel the difference. Even if you're not losing weight from it, you can feel the difference. And
feel lighter, right?
yeah, it's like you digest things better.
Well, Queen Jock, I ain't trying to put you out here, but I know you start eating a little different. Share your experiences with us. Like, how was it going?
Yeah, it's going. I'm trying really hard, but yeah, I've given up chicken for now. I may go back, I don't know.
That's good.
But I've given up chicken. I've been stopped eating beef. I stopped eating that a long time ago. Pork, I didn't give up that yet, but right now, right now. So I'm trying to be careful what I eat. So I'm eating a lot of seafood, a lot of green, a lot of plant-based, but I'm being careful in what I eat. But like
So what
we said,
did you
you're not gonna
notice?
lose weight. But
Okay.
I'm just trying to be cautious of what I eat. And just to see where it goes, and maybe I can get used to it. Now I tried it for like a couple of weeks, but it's just like now I'm keep on going. I haven't
But
had
do
the
you feel
desire.
any different? Are you feeling like lighter? Are you feeling more energetic? Like, do you see a difference with how you're feeling?
Some days, but some days I don't. I feel the same.
Okay.
I even cut back on soda too a little bit. I'm just trying to see where it will lead me.
Right.
Okay.
Let me ask you
Because
something.
a friend of mine
Go.
is vegan, so I was doing it with him.
Okay.
Kind of being conscious of, when
What
we
you
go out to
taking
eat,
in?
don't eat that. Although it don't bother it doesn't bother him, but just being conscious and kind of being respectful of him. So I wasn't eating those things.
That's what I was gonna
Just
ask.
trying it out.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Were you guys doing it for your own health reasons, or this is,
Well, it started with the fast with the church. It did start with that. And like I said, he does it too. So it's like, oh, let me just keep going just to see how it will be. But I don't eat. But you know what? What happened was, okay, here it go. When I went away, I did try to eat chicken, but it just didn't do nothing for me. So I was like, okay, maybe my body is like, we good, girl. We don't need it.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I did try to go back, but I don't miss it. I really don't. I don't miss it
But
at
let's
all.
say if you can give up something for 28 days, then you can give it up altogether. 28 days is usually the cutoff time. If you can stop doing something for 28 days, then you can give it up.
But you have to think. You really have to think, like, and you be all like, oh, I can't have that. I can't. And then when I go places and celebrations, I can't. I gotta probably eat before I go because everybody's not conscious of those vegan
Right.
invitations or participants or people. So you have to be, you really have to think about it before you when you go places, even every day. Like, what am I going to eat today? What am I going to eat tonight?
right.
And that kind of helps with fast food because the only thing you can get from like McDonald's is a fish sandwich.
Or salad. I mean,
Or salad, yeah. But I eat that like, and that's the thing, like I eat that every day, every other day.
Right.
So, you be trying to change up, and I go on YouTube to see what different vegan meals I can eat, or things without meat, or I really it's a lot. It's a lot to think about, but I do it.
Like Queen Lady B though, I'm sorry, Trey, I'm gonna just say real quick, like Queen Lady B though, once you get it, like I noticed once I entered 40, I was like, yeah, this body acting a little different when I eat certain stuff. Like, so it's just certain things you really can't eat no more. Because like you said, Lady B, I noticed certain things that I used to love, I can't really tackle no more because my body don't digest it right. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna have to let it go because it just don't make me feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That's how come when you reach 60, if you want to have a Pepsi, it's okay.
Whatever.
Listen, Pepsi, y'all owe Queen's Quarters a check, okay? Because this is
That's right.
I'll tell you,
Queen Emma a
Queen
check.
Emma is endorsing them like ain't nobody business.
And I was gonna say this too. It helps with your skin because now I'm drinking a lot more water.
Yes.
So it helps with your skin. I will say that because my skin, I was going through something in January with my acne or whatever. But once I like cut soda out and been drinking a lot of water, and instead of filling for soda, I get the Crystal Light or the Force sugar-free type of thing they dump in your water. I drink water with lemon. It really helps.
Just water. Yeah,
It
I
really
stopped
helps.
drinking soda and juice years ago.
Well,
too.
believe it or not, when I have a cup of Pepsi, I have 2 glasses of water, one before and one after.
Does that help with the flushing?
Pepsi straight up. I'm not going to dilute it. I ain't adding it in. So I have a glass of water before and a glass of water after in between my Pepsi.
Oh, does that help cut the caffeine or?
It helped cut the guilt.
Okay, it's a conscious thing. That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I was going at. That's what I was going at.
I was about to say, is that you apologizing to your esophagus when you do that? Go ahead, Queen T. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to add to that when it comes down to addictions, it just goes to show that it is a process.
Oh, yeah.
And it's about being
Absolutely.
conscious.
Yep.
And if it's something that you can't do on your own when it comes down to addiction, because maybe you've been doing it so long, you might want to seek some help and get into that place. Because when you're dealing with a nutritionist, they'll let you know what it is and maybe some things you could change a little bit at a time. Right. And so it's a process, and we all need to know that. Even those of us that struggling with weight, we need to know it's a process.
Right.
For me, I'm kind of like on a food journey as well.
Okay.
And I stopped eating a lot of my favorite things. Like I love seafood, shrimps, and crabs is my very favorite. And I have not eaten those at all. I've actually cut out seafood. If it doesn't have fins, I'm not eating it. So that's where I'm at with that.
I don't want Tracy to tell you why she don't eat those things anymore, because I don't want her to ruin my.
I'm not going to tell you why I don't eat those anymore, but that's where I'm at now. But I still eat. So now I'm only eating like the chicken and fish. I let go of the pork, but I miss I don't mean I don't crave for that bacon or whatever, but it's going to be it's a process, and I realize that. But it hasn't helped me lose any weight. I can say that so far, but I still eat chicken and I still eat fish. So
Tracy, tilapia have fins,
but that's not a fish that I like. Like I don't like catfish. I don't like catfish. So I'm like, yeah.
Girl, that's so meaty.
I like flounder, and I like
flounder is good.
And I like
I love porgy.
Whitings.
I love porgy.
Well,
red snapper. I'm sorry, go ahead, y'all.
Just to piggyback off of Queen T. Now, I know not that we're making lighthearted of this situation, but we know that this is a serious situation, and we also know that if you feel like you having a problem or an issue that you need to talk to someone about it, please do. That's exactly why we are having this conversation, because we're opening doors and shedding light on this situation, that there are some people truly dealing with it. And I know that there were some people dealing with it when I was modeling back in the day, and I'm not going to say that situation has stopped. I'm sure some people are still dealing with this whole eating disorder and trying to maintain a certain weight just to fit into society or feel accepted by society. So I just wanted to let whoever know that that's out there to our listening audience, that we ask you that if you think that you're having an issue, please seek help. And I know Lady B has.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Queen T and Queen Ty, for wheeling us back into how much of a serious matter this is, and how there are people who actually need some help that are suffering from food addiction. So I have a telephone number if you're out there, you're struggling, and it's just something you feel like you can't overcome by yourself. The National Eating Disorder Association is available to you. That number is 1-800-931-2237, 1-800-931-2237. A toll-free number, Mondays through Thursday. They're available from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time. And on Fridays, they're available 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. So again, if you're having trouble with food disorders, please give them a call. You don't have to tell anyone that you're reaching out for help. We will be praying for you, and we hope that you seek the help and get the help that you need.
Amen. Yes. Amen. Amen. All right, everyone. We thank you so much for tuning in with us on this topic. And we thank you, kings and queens out there, for your continued support. We really honor you. We want you to remember that there's a king and a queen in you, and you have been a part of the Queen's Quarters experience. Please always keep in mind that we want you to follow us on social media, all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, as well as YouTube. Make sure you always just kind of just subscribe, share so other viewers can see, other viewers can experience. You never know what one individual may have going on, and that they can be blessed by one of the shows or somebody that they know. So please share the content, get it out. We truly appreciate you, and we will see you again next Wednesday. God bless.